Okay, so a little bit of a different setup today. We are on the PTR server, on the test server, and we have a game, as you might have already gleaned from the player names, between European and North American players. I mean, this isn't Europe versus North America, but we have both regions mixed together here. We are currently on Dragonshire, and before I tell you a little bit more about what we're watching here, let's check out the players. On the left side, we got, for the blue team, Zergling on Urel, Kaskun on Ana, we got Lau on Muradin, Main on Chromie, and Lutano on Greymane. And over to the right side of the map, Hazorbs for the red team on Rexa, Henning on Malfurion, Cure on Tracer, X-Ray and on Johanna, and guess who I am on Genji. So this is actually a little bit of an interesting setup, and what's happening here is that on the North American server there was a leak announced just recently, the CCL run by Heroes Hearth. And some of the European players are currently thinking about actually trying to join that league. So the way that this works is that teams are going to be drafted over there, and it's going to run for a while. Since there's not a lot of tournaments announced on the European side at this point in time, some of the players thought it would be a pretty cool idea to just like check that out, play a little bit on the NA server. And this is why we currently have, on a pretty regular basis, matches with NA and European players on the PTR server, on the test server, where they're just playing like in-house games. If you remember, we had on the European side, nice move by the way, taking that one down, so top lane is going to be even easier for Hazorbs. We had a while ago a lot of in-house games starting up between the European players where they were just mixing and matching and having some fun. Lauber with a self-cleanse over here. We're coming back on that in just another second. But just to finish that thought, so these matches are pretty much games where players can jump in from all regions, and it's more or less a little bit of an exposition match that happens every evening where the players, so to say, are trying to showcase their skills a bit and then could theoretically be drawn into a team. There's a little bit of a problem there still for the Europeans, of course. This is not really the best conditions since all of these games are happening on the North American servers, which means that European players are running 120 to 130 ping on average, which is obviously on high-level play quite a lot. But at the same time, they are also in a position where they had for a much longer time than the Americans a pretty decent esports scene after HGC went down. So it's a bit of a... they are a little bit more in shape than most of the NA players. There's obviously a couple of exceptions to that rule as well. But so this is kind of what we're watching right now. This is also the reason why we have people like Mene back here too. And since this is happening on the new test server, there's also the new Nexus anomaly that Blizzard put into play, added to the game already, which is the Gladiator's Medallion, which introduces a self-cleanse for every single hero that is on a 5-minute cooldown. And that is how Lauber just a second ago was able to escape. As you could see, Henning was trying to root him down, and Muradin then self-cleansed and walked through it. So that thing has a 5-minute cooldown. And unfortunately, there is absolutely no indicator for an observer. So when you're casting the game, you can't see the cooldowns on the Gladiator's Medallion. Now, Blizzard is... I personally think there's just no way that Blizzard is going to introduce that into their observer interface in any way. Blizzard, let's face it, doesn't really give a shit about the esports scene, and they haven't done any updates on the observer interface in the last 3 years or so, even though multiple ones were requested. I mean, a good example is that the stacking quests on the baseline, like Muradin's Stormbolt here, for example, are not even indicated in their own UI. That's why we're running the Ali UI over here. And I already talked to Ali, and he is going to check if he can maybe introduce the cooldown of the Gladiator's Medallion in a new version of his own UI. So thank God for him, because if it wasn't up for him and others to give us these things, Blizzard definitely wouldn't. For now, on the other hand, we can't really look at the cooldown, but in case that you see one hero self-cleanse at any point in the game, you know what's up. Most of the players, by the way, at this point don't really think that the addition of the Gladiator's Medallion, that self-cleanse, is a good idea, and say that not only does it slow down the game, but at the same time it also makes the frontline players... Ooh, nice move here. Well done, Genji gets the kill. But a lot of the players seem to believe these days that it's not really a good addition. Top players have been pretty vocal about it after testing it out now for some while. But we got a couple of kills in. And I'm sorry that we're not quite focusing fully on the game here, but there's a lot to talk about as this is the first one of these NA EU in-house games that we're casting right now, so a few more explanations are necessary. But as you can already tell, the blue team is faring pretty well at the bot lane at least. So they've been doing quite a bit of work over here, getting some decent damage in. Mainly by now with the Time Walker's Pursuit, has the chronic conditions and the proper greeting also in play. And yeah, looking quite strong at this point. Now they're a bit behind in experience, the blue team that is. But yeah, in the middle, they might even lose another hero. Zergling needs to be careful and is able to get away. And Genji barely jumping out here. Had, of course, the Malfurion support right behind him, and that helps him a lot. And in terms of builds, standard also for Tracer with the 1-2 punch, the pulse generator, and the locked and loaded. And right now, a bit more pressure onto the mage backline. Ana is also in slight trouble, which is why Genji is trying to immediately make a play for her. Genji is still trying to fight it out, but there's already the ult. It's cleansed out, no problem for him to jump away. And dodges the ult without any trouble whatsoever, at least for now. But a nice opening into the game. A bit of aggression here early on. The fort already destroyed, and the players are definitely at it. Now, as we're going through this, again, keep in mind that if you see any of the European players play here, they are playing with a delay that at least on this level is quite significant. So I talked to a few of them, and most of them agree that their delay is around 120, 130 milliseconds. So yeah, that can be a little, yeah, a ping of 120, 130 can be a little bit annoying. For sure. So if you see some of those plays where something is a bit missed, that might be one of the issues. And that's a bit of a problem also. Another issue, by the way, with European players potentially joining that league is also that if they're drafted into a team, it would pretty much mean that they are not eligible for any European tournaments in the same time frame. So there's a lot to consider if a player then at the end of the day really decides to play over here, since all of these league games, to my knowledge, are a little bit inflexible with their timing, and that would mean that you can't participate in a tournament if there is one on Europe. And so far we had, of course, more or less irregular tournaments on the European side throughout the entire year, not only in 2020 but also in 2019. And it's going to be interesting to see if some of the European players then really decide that they want to play in this and give up potential tournaments like another Meta Madness. There was a new tournament announced also by Malgarnier on the French side just today apparently. And Masters Clash also announced at the beginning of 2021 they are also going to run a new tournament series. So there's a lot of things to consider. As you can see, there's a little bit of a backstory to all of this, but for now we can just enjoy having some of those matches on the North American side. But again, this is PTR. And we actually have a Haymaker set up now also. Lauber going into the Haymaker here. A couple of the ults also a little bit out there, especially when we look towards Johanna. We've talked about X-Ray or other players like Wit as well going into Falling Sword just to put more pressure onto Ana herself. And the backline, obviously, for the blue team is therefore a little bit vulnerable. So if you can just pressure the support, Falling Sword is a great tool for that, especially when you jump in with Genji together. So there's a huge amount of potential to really cause some problems there. So with all of this, we now have top side, still a fight over the Dragonite. We had a couple of times already where double temple or double shrine control was possible, but nobody was able to lock the objective in just yet. Tracer is still escorting some of the siege giants at the bottom of the lane towards the camp. And that is actually going to do a lot of work here. I mean, Jojo is now coming in. Okay, Q is taking this slowly out. But here's an opportunity to grab the Dragonite. The problem is that X-Ray on Johanna is already sitting straight at the bottom, converting this particular shrine. And therefore, no chance to grab the objective at the 8-minute mark for the blue team. But the fight is still raging on. By now we have Chromie with a pretty decent damage output, 19,000 for her, putting her into the #1 spot. We have Greymane sitting shortly behind this. Lutano is doing some work topside here. And gets locked down maybe a little bit, is still fighting it out with Misha over here. The problem is the rotation that comes in, and Lutano might just be caught here. No, not gonna fall here. X-Strike comes through though, and that's the end of him. Lutano down, just staying a little bit too long. The nano boost on Mane allowed him to get a bit more damage out, but he's not able to go for a counter kill here. At the bottom of the map, we have Urel fighting it off against Johanna. And Tracer is already looking for the next victim as Cure is dancing around the map in the attempt to drop Lauber here. So far, job well done. Bottom of the map now, even more aggression. They really want the first Dragonite now. Zergling is already pressured off, but Lauber is jumping in together with Urel now. And the two of them definitely have enough sustain here to keep control over the Shrine for just a bit longer and allow the rotation of the rest of the team. Anna's now moving in as well, starting to make a move too. Haymaker and the recall, and goodbye Mirrodin. Mirrodin is down. Cure with 28 points. Is he actually going to get away from this one? And the answer is... what? The answer is yes. What the hell? He actually got out. The entire time I was just waiting for Urel to drop the maze and take Tracer down. But she is actually able to get away here. Cure activating the Juke Master 2000, and in the meantime the Dragonite was claimed in the middle of the map. So the red team all of a sudden heavily ahead here, having an entire level lead, leading slightly in kills, and now also in possession of the first objective, which would allow them, or should allow them, to go through a few of the structures here. The wall obviously obliterated within seconds here in the middle, but they could definitely try to go for a fort. The problem is that Dutanon Greymane goes deep and takes Johanna down. Johanna eliminated. Up at the top, Harzops is gonna try and push out the top lane. And at the bottom of the map, Cure is still dancing around Lauber, gets Haymakered again, but Henning is already here, and Lauber is on the way back quite easily. A little bit of punting happening in the middle, but as you can tell, doesn't seem like they're going to get a lot of value out of the Dragonite after they lost the hero. The death of Johanna definitely putting a bit of a dent into those plans, and now they could destroy some towers, but that's about it. So structurally speaking, they're still behind, even though they have taken the lead in experience. Cure at this point recalls away from this, gets hit once, and is able to get away. Dropped his Gladiator's Medallion there, if I'm not mistaken. And the Dragonite has been defeated. Top lane, on the other hand, loses the fort. At least structurally, we now have them on even footing once again. But yeah, pretty fun start into our in-house matches that we are going to drop here, at least for now. And so far, so good. Also, again, guys, as mentioned in the past, if you want to support the channel, if you want to support coverage, not only of the Asian scene, as we've seen the Taiwanese tournament happening lately, or matches like this one that I'm currently trying to get as much as I can, you can go over to patreon.com/Khaldor. Thank you to everybody that already supports the channel here. It's very much so appreciated, and you are helping to keep the esports coverage of Heroes and other games here alive. So thanks a lot for that. If you're interested to contribute, then you can check it out there. Bit of a fight also over the Siege Giants here, and that leads to Mirrodin also dying, so Lauber dying another horrible death over here. Whereas we have now more camps pushing through that bot lane. And I gotta give it to the blue team. They have been pretty diligent about claiming as many of these camps down at the bottom of the map as they can, to capitalize on the fact that they took out the bottom fort early on in the game. So it's constant pressure against the keep. Oh, there's the end of Chromie though. Yeah, Genji comes in for the kill, locks this one in. Even Tracer started to help out. Cure initially was sitting bot side trying to deal with the camps that now finally have done a bit of damage to that wall, but not enough yet to put a dent into the keep itself. But it's a pretty fun game. It's actually really nice here. A lot of back and forth at this point. Again, here comes the action. Genji might be in a little bit of trouble and zips out with the X-Strike, or at least tries to, but Zergling is already high on his heels and takes him down with another mace to the face. Nicely done. Mirrodin jumping in, wants another Stormbolt on Harzops and might just get it here. And if he does, then that's going to be the end of Rexa as well. Yeah, Cleanse comes through, Nature's Cure is in, but that's the end of it. Big Bad Wolf with a double kill. Triple kill, if you count Misha, of course. Gets a 2-for-1. Pretty much like shopping at Walmart at this point. Lauber active in the middle as well, and with the shrines up, there's now a realistic chance for the blue team to get themselves a Dragonite. Chromie is already on her way down to the bottom of the map, trying to put some pressure onto Cure and zone Trace out from the position here. Greymane has by now taken over the main damage. Johanna needed to jump out again, but Greymane easily on the way to Dragonite number 1 for the blue team. Zips it out, they switch it. But Urel grab it. There's nobody really contesting it, so they can take their time to decide who gets the Dragonite for now, and off we go. At this point, 19 stacks for Muradin. Has also gone into the Dwarf launch after committing to the heavy impact on level 7. Keep in mind that he actually went into Reverberation here, and therefore not into the double clap. It's also the reason why we don't see healing static on level 13, but instead the Bronze Beard Rage, which is normally what you go if you go for such a variation here. In terms of the talents, we now got also the Heavy Handed on level 16. Rexa obviously went into the Feigned Death here, as he usually does. And Muradin coming in again, and oh my god, they are crushing Genji. X striking out, at least trying to, but he is able to escape. Even after everything they just unleashed on him, he is able to make it out here. Dragonite still playing through the bottom of the map, as they are hoping to get a bit more damage in. I mean, they destroyed the fort in the middle, but of course, at this point in the game, you really would hope to do a bit more than that. Even just taking down the tower at the bottom would help to expose the keep a little bit more. And I guess that's the... yeah, that's definitely what's happening here. Mena now moving in, having the piercing sands after he went into shifting on level 16. He's getting the damage out now as we speak. 7 kills to 7. A pretty even game that we're seeing between the two. The pressure on Ana as everybody is jumping in. Genji with a kill through the Swift Strike. And now we have also the Tracer Bomb once again connecting. Lauba is low, jumps around, dies, and that's 2 kills for the red team, which could quickly escalate to even a full 5-man wipe if this continues. They're really trying to zerg them at this point, swarming in as much as they can. Greymane is definitely in trouble. He's trying to go for a quick kill. Genji needs to be careful, but now that we also have Johanna committing to the fight, it's the end of the big bad wolf. Chromie and Urel are both still running, and Mena makes it out. Didn't expect Chromie to get away here. But, well, at this point, it's not quite sure that she is going to get away. Yeah, has the timeout. Mena still on the run. But that's the 5-man team wipe that we pretty much expected at this point. Level 20, as a result, drops also into the hands of the red team. X-Ray with another drop on the cooldown. No problem for him here. Gets a bit of extra damage out. Not that he went into the Heaven's Fury. We currently have Harzobs busy at the bottom of the map. They're looking for momentum here. I mean, they have everything going for themselves right now. They just took a fort. They can take all of the camps on the map. They can easily also now claim the fort in the middle. Yeah, again, cooldown reduction over here. X-Ray jumps in on the minion wave and escorts their own minions to the fort, which they drop without any problems. There's a triple camp now at the bottom of the map, and they can go for the additional mercenary camp at the top left side. See the same play here. And X-Ray is just hopping around like a bunny the entire time. I mean, he's sitting here with one jump on his ult after another. Now, they got a lot of time that they can use to go for the next objective. Now that we're 16 minutes in, that accounts for quite something. But coming back to the Gladiator's Medallion for just a second, you can really see how that self-cleanse, even though it's on a 5-minute cooldown, is incredibly impactful, especially if an opponent is stacking CC, which is pretty much the norm in Heroes. So you will see a lot of these fights sometimes delayed because the team is waiting for their cooldown to come back online so that they can execute a real powerful push with the Gladiator's Medallion ready, so that self-cleanse available to them. And it makes things a little bit tricky. At the same time, engages from the tanks are way more dangerous, because it can easily be that you see a CC tank moving into the opponent's backline, trying to set a kill up. The opponent's team just simply goes for the cleanse and then unloads all the damage on the tank that just engaged into them, and all of a sudden there's a kill. So it makes things a little bit awkward. This is what most of the players have been criticizing on the higher level about the new edition, even though this is all still happening on the PTR. I highly doubt that Blizzard is going to be dissuaded from putting that mechanic in. They usually are not really that open to feedback when it comes to this. But we'll see if they unleash it onto the live server, which we can still assume. At this point, Ana gets attacked again, and this brings us back to that play. This is one of the main reasons why you see the ult used on Johanna against Ana, because you can just put her under pressure over and over and over again in these team fights. It gives Johanna also a little bit more mobility. Tracer is down, damn! She gets murdered. Quest completed. Oh my god, all of a sudden everybody's just dead and dying. Well, Furion drops, and so does Greymane. Yeah, nicely done here. Actually gonna take another look at that fight real quickly. I mean, Tracer was the first one to fall, and then it escalated quickly after that. This is kill after kill, with Muradin also in the meantime completing his baseline quest. So now we have a cooldown reduction on the auto attacks for him and also the Pierce. Bit of pressure here in the middle with the catapult coming through. We're now 18 minutes into the game. But this is a pretty cool match, I gotta say. We have 10 kills against 14 right now, so it's, I mean, more or less even. The keep at the bottom of the map on the blue team side hasn't been destroyed yet either, even though it's low. But now that we're fighting for camps again, Lauba is coming in together with Mene. Urel is also there. Okay, they're trying to control Johanna again. Feint Death has been used, but Haas in trouble and he knows it. Stormbolt connects, and that's the end of Raxa. Raxa is down. They're still trying to get the kill on Urel, but it might be that Jojo falls too. X-Ray is jumping out, or at least he tries to, but gets locked down very quickly afterwards, and that's another kill against Johanna now. So she is down. That's 2 heroes dead on the red team side. And yep, it is a bit of a problem for the red team losing heroes at this point in the game, because it will likely now lead to another Dragon Knight for the blue team. And we're now 19 minutes into the game. That bad boy scales into the late game, so that's gonna hurt quite a bit. 60,000 damage by now for Genji. We still have a few more damage points on Greymane and Chromie. Mene has taken over the top damage numbers once again. And now, of course, the Dragon Knight is absolutely open. Seems like a circling, and Urel is going to claim it once more. And everybody is already starting to move into the middle. There's a camp set up at the top side, which could theoretically start to put some pressure onto the wall here. Unlikely to threaten the keep itself. But now that they also took the Siege Giant camp at the bottom of the map, this is of course the perfect opportunity with a double Siege Giant camp with catapults and a Dragon Knight to finally burn that keep down. And maybe, with a kill, go for core and end this game. So there's a good chance of that happening. So they're currently trying to make that work. I mean, the keep is definitely going to fall. There's like no doubt about that. The only question is, can you save the core? Jump into the backline again. The pressure on Ana, as we've seen previously. Genji comes in too, and Ana is down. Granny abuse right there. Jumped in again. No chance for her to escape. Greymane is dead as well. The Dragon Knight moving on to the core in the backline. Still the hoppity hop here, and a nice kill by Johanna on Chromie. Muradin goes also down. That leaves only Urel alive. Kenji escape here? I really don't think so. Can Zergling get away? And nope. The answer is no. 3 kills from Johanna alone, and a full 5-man wipe leads now to a charge across the map as the red team smells blood in the water and thinks they can potentially go for victory here. And honestly, who's gonna stop them? The core wasn't even scratched on the red team side, but with that little move, you see everybody jumping on the core directly. It's another 17 seconds until Ana is back, and she won't have any impact on the defense here either. So this is going to be game, as the red team is about to claim victory on Dragonshire in our Europe North America mixed team in-house match, or whatever you want to call it. So a pretty fun one for our first one here to log in, and yeah, nicely done by both teams. Very close one, 19 kills against 12 at the end of the game, and GG as the red team is victorious on Dragonshire. Alright, another game coming up here. North American and European players playing together on the North American server. And we'll, on the PTR by the way, so we're gonna check this one out. Now we are on Battlefield of Eternity, and let's introduce our teams first before we go a bit more into detail. On the left side we got BBJ on Deckard Cain, X-Ray on Imperius, Cure on Thrall, we have Mene on Hanzo, and Droplets is playing Reyna with the Exterminator as the level 1 talent once again. On the right side of the map, the red team with Liam on Blaze, Prismaticism on Greymane, Scott on Liming, we got Shugi on Garrosh, and Banana Age is playing Malfurion. So as mentioned in one of the previous ones, all of these games are played on the North American server, and they are played also on the current test realm, on the PTR, which means that the new Nexus anomaly, the Gladiator's Medallion, is live, which allows every single one of the heroes in the game to self-cleanse once every 5 minutes. So the thing has a 5-minute cooldown. Unfortunately, is currently not reflected anywhere in the Observer UI. And I know that Ali is definitely going to work on this a little bit for the custom UI that we're using here. I highly doubt that Blizzard is going to include it in their own Observer UI. So for now we actually have to just play with the knowledge that the Medallion is there, but we can't double check the cooldown on all the heroes every time. But there will be a lot of plays, of course, it will be coordinated around these cooldowns in the long run. European players play in this scenario with a ping of 120 to 130 on average. So every single time that you see these guys playing right now, this is what we are roughly talking about. And these are all exhibition matches, very similar to the in-house matches that we had on the European side. The players are just playing together, having first of all some fun, and also for the upcoming CCL League in North America, trying to get a bit of exposure for themselves to be potentially drafted for one of the teams, at least on the American side. Double kill against Jimmy and Imperius, so a good start for the red team as they get the quick 2 kill at the bottom of the map. We have on level 1 the body check coming in on Garrosh, and in addition to this, also when we're talking about Thrall, the Trolling Thunder. A little bit more self-sustained for Cure here, all the way up at the top of the map. And Liam currently, K was thinking about jumping back, and now he's trying to cover for Greymane so that they can take the top cam too. It's a bit surprising to me, honestly, that nobody on the red team side on the blue team side has been sent top to prevent the red team from claiming both of these camps. So it was a bit tricky. We also got Triumvirate in again after Power Hungry, and with Exterminator and Hanzo in the mix. There's of course on the red team, on the blue team, a lot of damage against the Immortal now as well. Liam finally Hearthstoning back, making sure that he is fully topped up on hit points and mana before we're heading into objective number 1. Mane in this case actually going for the explosive arrows right away. Alright, so no scatter setup here on level 4. First camp has also now been claimed by both players, and on level 4 we get the Ruby. No shielding potion this time, not on this map, so Frostwolf pack is also coming through, so a little bit of a quest setup here. And that in particular could now also lead to level 16. Oh, that's actually a nice flip. Mane is in trouble. I don't call that trouble, Mane is dead. Mane is just absolutely down within a second. It insta disappears here, and it seems like X-Ray might also run into some problems. He is tapping the fountain instead of Hearthstoning immediately. The Immortal is now back up, so we're gonna see what's gonna happen around that. Obviously, it's still very early in the game, so the death timers are super low, meaning Mane is already on the way back towards the objective. And let's see who can lock in the first one. So far, everything is going pretty well for the red team. They have 3 kills already. They're working on kill number 4 here. Yeah, but the blue team is set for defense now. Now that we also have Cure and Thrall rotating down to the bottom to help out here. Double stack, nice! Gets the third one too. Greymane gets murdered. Well done. Good setup from Cure. Very well played. That wolf was just fantastic. Connected with 3 here, even hitting Malfurion in the back. And now we have the counter kill. But the quest is also completed for Thrall. He only needed 2 wolves to set this one up. Frost Wolf pack is done. And yeah, we've got a bit of an exchange in kills. Problem is, of course, that only Droplets is sitting over here. Gets flipped and self-cleanses Gladiator's Medallion in action right here. And this is a very good example. This would have been an insta-kill. He still dies, but it would have been an insta-kill on Jimmy right over here. This way, he even had a chance to escape, but of course, there weren't enough teammates around to really cover him. Now we have the halftime show already locked in by the red team, and they're hoping for the objective itself. Cure in trouble. Cure, and gets out with 26 HP. I mean, in one of the previous games when we had him on Tracer, he had a very similar escape where it looked several times like he would just die. But he's able to pull that off again, so not bad. Yeah, and of course, once more, we have the red team pushing back here. Greymane still attacking. And they lose Garrosh, but they win the objective. So the Immortal has been taken. The question is, can Liam survive? And the answer is nope. Nope. So there's an, oh my god, all of a sudden the blue team goes for it. 3 kills. And those come at the perfect moment in time. They got their level 7 talents now, which gives us the Ancestral Wrath. But it also allows them to set up the defense all the way up at the top. So, given how dominant early on the red team was, I didn't really expect this defense to go this well. Honestly, this Immortal isn't even gonna get the entire wall. Now, they have Greymane at the bottom of the map, and X-Ray is the only one defending. Q is now slowly making his way over from the top lane, so Thrall is going to assist Superiors in just a bit. But I gotta say, this is a much better situation now for the blue team than I expected after how much they struggled early on here. Then again, X-Ray now dies, so all the control that we are seeing at the bottom of the map is really paying off for the red team. They're locking in kill number 6 here, with Calamity on the side of Skog for level 7. That's obviously more damage potential on Li Ming now too. And yeah, it's an interesting setup. Very interesting actually. So with this said, top side, Mena on the money pick as usual, riding in style, is dealing with the minion waves, locking the experience in for the team. It's all about the level 10 ability, of course, as we're heading into the next objective. It's important that you have those. But another kill! And they're doing well here. They're really picking the kills up wherever they can find them. And Garrosh is setting them up one after another. So now with Prismaticism on Greymane, they're trying to take, well, I guess the fort down. There's nobody really here to stop them. There's still 2 heroes up at the top side. We got Liam on Blaze, making sure that he also catches the rotation if it happens. So with Greymane having full access to the fort, that's an easy fort destroyed. And an early level 10 for them too. So nicely done. With that, we got the wave of 4s, we got the bullet for Greymane, the challenge, the warrior's taunt on Garrosh. And the blue team, they need their level 10. I mean, it's not going to be a problem because they're so close already that for the immortal phase, they will have the heroic ability in play. But I still gotta say, this is a weird game. Initially, a lot of kills for the red team, then just as they lock in the immortal, they get a bit slaughtered and lose the advantage through the objective. But when it counts, they are on point once more and drop the bottom fort of the blue team. So nicely played by them. But we still have a dead even play around immortal number 2. At least in terms of talents. So Greymane is of course doing the main damage for the red team. But we also have Exterminator for Jimmy, which we can't really pass on here. He's actually starting to take Garrosh down instead. Here comes the action. Arrow's already down. And there's the kill against Imperius. Bunker up for Liam. The kill as the red team locks in another one. They're trying to go for the play against Greymane, who gets cleansed here. So yeah, self-cleanse once again active. The Gladiator's Medallion. If not for that, the Wolf of Cure would have locked him down into the immortal stun. So good use of it. 5-minute cooldown, as I mentioned previously, on those self-cleansers. But we've seen now a couple of really good uses on them too. That said, red team's still looking good. They won the halftime show. They're likely going to win this immortal as well. Now they have to make sure that they don't lose heroes, because that was the problem last time. And Banana Age is already in trouble, and you can tell that all the players of the blue team are all of a sudden saying, you know what guys, let's see if we can make that happen again. But this time, they're not falling for it. So they're just tapping the fountain, they get ready for the attack, and it's going to be a push through the top lane, since the bot lane fort has already been eliminated. So everybody is starting to move towards the top in anticipation of that push, with the exception of Greymane, who's still clearing the waves at the bottom, going up against Q now. But this fort is going to fall. There's no way to actually save this one. 21,000 on Li Ming at this point. So she is nearly top damage in the game, only surpassed by Mena's Hanzo. And talking about Mena, he has to jump out quickly here. Prismaticism wanted to go for the kill. Does only have the bullet, not go for the throat though, but he would have probably had enough damage here if he could have gotten close enough. Jimmy! Yeah, survives. Droplets is able to get away, even though he got rooted by Malfurion. We of course need to keep him alive to take that immortal down. But at least it would make things so much easier. But here comes the approach from Q into the back. Big arrow for Mena. European arrow right there. And there's the kill. Not only does Malfurion fall, but Garrosh also gets eliminated. A double kill for the blue team, bringing them back a bit here. The Immortal falls too, and now they're pressuring the top, trying to go for the wall here. That should be an easy one. Maybe they can even go for the fort. Seems to be a bit of a pressure attempt at the bottom of the map now by the red team though. And yeah, if they pressure the wall at the keep, then there has to be a reaction of the blue team. They can't simply trade. Or at least they shouldn't. We got on 13, the Blood Craze in. Seems like they're going for the fort, but you can already see that the first few of the players are starting to Hearthstone back here. So they get everything they want. The wall at the bottom has been more or less destroyed by the red team though. But at the same time, blue team didn't really want to go for a fight in the first place. They didn't have level 13 talents yet, and this way they got the most out of a weird situation. They are starting to catch up a bit in kills. They are also catching up in experience, granting them the same talent tier as their opponent, and they've taken the top 4 down. So they haven't really drawn even in terms of structures, but they're getting a little bit closer. Yeah, there's another attempted flip. Self-cleanse from X-Ray using the Gladiator's Medallion. Oh, Mane missing an arrow here now too, but not really of any consequences, you can see. Nobody else is starting to force the fight here just yet. Just double checking the bushes here with Garrosh, who has done a pretty solid job really getting kills for his team setup. Also forced the Gladiator's Medallion cooldown on X-Rays. That's pretty big. It's another 4.5 minutes that he doesn't have that available. But they're poking around the keep a bit more, and they should really be careful because they're still playing on the same talent. So, yeah, the flank is coming in. Cure. Is he gonna be still in play? He's trying for the lockdown against Prismaticism, who's able to move out. There's the Root of Malfurion, even committing to the ult. The problem is that Garrosh still falls, so there's a lot of ults that have been used from the red team, and just as the Immortal spawns, they are still down not only a lot of ult cooldowns, but also Garrosh, who has fallen here. Greymin is of course gonna try and get at least some damage onto the Immortal, but this is starting to get really tricky now for them. They've lost a lot of the advantages that they had throughout the entire game here. And now they might lose an Immortal. And this is now 11-12 minutes into the game, so this is a bit stronger. Should lead to a bottom fort being destroyed. But Garrosh is back in another 3 seconds. I just don't think that there's enough. Nah, there's not enough time. This one is gonna get dropped easy peasy, and most of the shield will still remain. Mane even aggroes the camp on the left side, so they can also drop this before the Immortal touches ground, so no problem for them with this one either. And that's a pretty solid push now that will happen at the bottom of the map. They're all starting to jump in on it too. Now, level 16 is a bit too far away for the red team to lock that advantage in before the defense starts up. Thankfully for them, they have this top lane set up, and Liam is going to take another wave down. So the top keep is under serious pressure. The blue team, they are actually going to lose that keep if they don't send anybody back. And Blaze has so far not moved back. And why would he? Why would Blaze move back? There's no reason for him. So instead he just sits topside. They can't save the fort at the bottom of the map anyways. Blaze now moved back, but this keep is gone. Cure tries to go by. At this point, honestly, he shouldn't. I don't think they can save this. There's no way he can save this. I don't really understand why he moved back there. So Cure comes too late. The keep goes down. And if they would have moved in with 5, they could have at least done some damage to the keep at the bottom. In an ideal scenario, they can look for a kill and then maybe draw even. But now as it stands, all that they accomplished with this Immortal is trade a fort for a keep. So not really a good trade here. A pretty bad one actually for the blue team. It was not a good move. Either you have to send someone back earlier, or you just say fuck it and you go for the bottom keep and let your own keep topside fall. Those are pretty much your options, but this wishy-washy decision that they had here didn't really do anything for them. Now we got 16 versus 16, and here comes the play as they're coming straight down to the bottom of the map and trying to control the choke point. Yeah, X-Ray is coming in, Arrow gets cleansed out as Mane is hitting home with Hanzo, but there's a lot more to it too as Malfurion falls. There's the sleep setup as they are hoping to drop Garrosh, and they do. Garrosh down and the kill against Malfurion, and they're looking for more. They get 2 more kills here. Now of course the move for keep. But this is how this all started. So they locked them into the corner here. Can't really escape. Malfurion dies, and then thanks to Deckard Kane's sleep setup, we have Garrosh falling a second later. So yeah, nicely done. And that opens up the keep. And guys, they could actually end the game here. Like, what the hell? The entire time it feels like the red team is ahead and the blue team is making some minor mistakes, but now we're looking at the core getting attacked just 14 minutes into the game. Most of them are going to be back soon, but can they defend? That's the question. It's going to be rough. Li Ming, oh my god. Li Ming is dead, and that should be game. Maybe. Mane is so low. X-Ray is low. I don't think they can. 40%, 45%. They lose a few of their players. Yep, now Cure is dead too, and everybody is on the run. what looked like it could be the end of the game turns into an escape of the last 3 survivors here, with 44% remaining on the core of the red team. And it all happens just as the next Immortal is up on the map, so now the blue team doesn't have 2 of their players available to go for either a defense or an attack. So they're going to lose the halftime show 100%. And it looks very likely that they're going to lose the Immortal too. Now, there's of course always the backdoor potential, but this could really become problematic. Because the Immortal, once taken, is of course going to go through the bottom of the map and is then going to try to go for core. So the blue team might actually be forced to try and play somehow around this and go for a backdoor attempt to win the game. Stopping this is going to be really tricky. So they're going to try for the fight now and not even allow the red team to grab the Immortal, but this is going to be more than a bit difficult. So yeah, with all the poke that we're having here and Prismaticism just firing away, yeah, arrow comes in, but of course, as you see again, quick cleanse out, but that's 100% Immortal now. They need to force the fight, they need to win this now. This is the only chance that they have, seriously. The Immortal is going to do so much damage here. If the entire red team fights with the Immortal, this should be game. Then again, it's 16 minutes in. The Immortal is strong, but it's not that powerful yet. They could defend. They honestly could defend. Even with the fort missing and the wall missing too. Since the red team isn't here yet, they have a solid chance. I mean, they're burning the shields down really, really quickly. So if they survive here and just can poke this out a bit more, they have a solid chance. We need to dodge out on Garrosh though. He's trying to go for the flip. There's the taunt, and that's the end of Thrall. Thrall is down already. Can they get the counter kill? They might. They're trying to go for Garrosh here. He's able to heal himself up a little bit more. Malfurion is also covering him. Li Ming is already down. Good jet propulsion from Liam, but he also gets immediately attacked by Imperius, who locks in the kill. So X-Ray, with 2 kills now, the keep as expected is already destroyed. But the Immortal is down to 50% HP. They're gonna hold this. They're actually gonna hold this, and there's another European arrow from Mene as he hits home hard and Prismaticism falls. The doggy is dead. Nicely done. And Garrosh is also caught a bit on the wrong side of this fight. This is not your base, dude. This is the wrong side. You need to go to the right. Yeah, so he's dead too. That's 4 down, level 20 in their hands, 90% on their core, so solid defense, and now they have the opportunity to just end it all. Move on the other side of the map. They're already starting to ping here. Then again, Li Ming back in 4, Blaze in 14. They might not be able to get it done yet. I mean, that's going to be how many people defending? 3 for sure, maybe a 4th as Greymane comes back. They're trying to poke, but it's only 44% left. So yeah, this is going to be difficult but not impossible. Let's see if they can push this one off. With especially Blaze here, they can slow this down. And they do. They slow it down pretty heavily. They're looking for a kill. They can't find it at this point. They haven't even scratched the shields yet. So Liam is low. Here comes the sleep setup, only catching 1. But now Greymane is back too. Only Garrosh is missing. They get the kill against Li Ming. They're still working on the core itself. But the blue team is realizing that they thought this to be a little bit easier than it actually is. So they drop the fountain. The arrow connects again. Mene homing in on those. Good save from Garrosh on Malfurion, but Blaze is down. X-Ray is a bit low, so is Droplets, but he still has the Pain and Red on 16, so that helps him to keep in play. It's nice in the back and forth here. Another attempt at a kill against Garrosh, but it turns against Imperius and he falls. X-Ray is down, and 19 minutes into the game with not a single keep remaining on the side of the blue team. They have to once again retreat here. What a setup. It's actually kind of nuts, honestly. You would have expected this one to be over already a long time ago. It's still a 4 versus 3 in favor of the blue team as the next Immortal is up. Mene has 52,000 damage, 51,000 for Li Ming. And thanks to the 2 damage dealers that they're running right now, and of course Thrall, they have an easy time of winning the halftime show here. Now, at this point it's a 4 versus 4 on the map, since we have also... who was it? I think... yeah, Li Ming back to business. So the blue team has to wait a little more. Look at Degard Kane, by the way. Degard Kane, BBJ is the only one that hasn't died yet. And it doesn't change here either. Self-cleanses, uses the Gladiator's Medallion, and uh-oh. Ooh, Mene missing an arrow. Yeah, that's a big one. That's a big one. Even my mouse is... fall. Oh, that's the first death on Deckard Cain. That arrow, by the way, was way more important than the kill or the death of Reyna. Arrow camera, absolutely on point here. So, yep, there's a big camp now coming up on the core with the catapult too. And Mane is on the run. Mane is not running. No. Mane is going for the core. Mane is going for the core. That's what's happening here. Poking out the prismaticism. Obviously, he's going to fall here. The question is, who takes the immortal? And with Mane on the right side about to fall, he goes down over here. Double connect from Imperius. And oh boy, X-Ray really wants to get those kills now, doesn't he? The core is in trouble of the blue team, on the other hand. Yeah, with 2 catapults now on it, those are starting to do some serious work, and the shields are already about to go down. Now, technically, I guess they can still wait for... Well, can they wait for Jimmy? Might cut it close. Should be able. The next minion wave is able to take them down. But the kill on Imperius is most likely going to be the end of this. Cure also on the run, attempting to buy a little bit more time, and gets murdered by Prismaticism. So this is going to be the end of it. Apparently, maybe. Then again, I thought that already a couple of times in this game, and so far it wasn't true yet. And with Blaze getting killed, it seems like it's not over yet after all. What is this game? Every time you think, okay, that's it now, another hero dies. They still have 4 against 2. Mane is coming back in 5 seconds, but there's no shields left on the core. They're going for it again. This should be it, right? I mean, even with Mane back, he gets the arrow out, connects it once more. It's all about slowing them down here and getting a bit of damage out. But it's 20 seconds until Imperius is back, and they don't have a front line right now. 39%. The fight is still going strong. He misses the shot droplets. No, that was an opportunity, but here comes the reset on the cooldown. Greymane is going for it, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is game. As after a huge back and forth here, we have the red team successful on Battlefield of Eternity. GG and well played. Infernal Shrines, more PTR games, and we have the newly reworked hero as well. We got D.Va. Alright guys, so on the left side, we got Porky on Sonya, we have Lauber on Diablo, Henning on Stukov, Hazobs on Medivh, and guess who I am, aka Ultralisk on Greymane. And to the right side of the map, X-Ray on ETC, Nick for the red team on Cassia, we got Nasmas on D.Va, BBG on Malfurion, and Prismaticism is playing Orphe over here. Yeah, more European players than North American players here on the NA server. Again, if you missed some of the previous matches that we covered here, all of these games are played on the PTR server, which means that the Gladiator's Medallion, the 5-minute cooldown self-cleanse that every single hero has as a new Nexus anomaly, is in the game. And obviously, since all of those games are playing on the NA servers, the European players are playing this with a delay of 120 to 130 seconds. So, yep, there's that. So, with all of this now being set up, we got, of course, D.Va back, which is going to be interesting because the hero got reworked quite a bit from Blizzard. And we haven't really had too much data of D.Va just yet. This is PTR, so players are still testing a lot of things out. But it's going to be pretty cool to just have a close look of what exactly is being done with her over here now. So we're going to check this out a little bit more. As, of course, at some point the PTR server becomes live, we're going to see the meta being established a little bit more to get an idea of what actually is going on, especially now that Gladiator's Medallion is playing a role. As I mentioned previously, most of the top players, they don't really think that it's a really good addition to the game because you're ending up playing along that, or around that 5-minute cooldown a lot. It drags the game out a little bit, it makes the entire attack patterns very strange, and you will have people play a lot more defensive whenever they don't have the cooldown ready. And in addition to that, it also makes the life of tanks incredibly difficult and, yeah, quite annoying, because if you try to engage into any kind of like backline setup so they can set up a kill for your team, all that the opponent's backline has to do is drop the medallion and then focus you down and kill you quickly. And this is something that has now been echoed by multiple players on the top level, so pretty important. We'll see if Blizzard changes anything around it and tries to mitigate that issue a little bit, but at least at this point, after testing it out for quite some time, most of the players agree that it's not really a great addition to the game. And of course, I think I'm mentioning this just because the argument or the point has been brought up a couple of times. People are still coming in. It's like, well, but these guys are playing at the top level. That's the top 1%, even less. So should the game really be balanced around them? And to everybody that asks the question, the answer is, fuck yeah! What you do in a game is you balance the game around the top players that you have in the game, and then you teach the rest of the players how to play the game. You never balance a game around the bad players. You don't balance game around whiners that are sitting there. It's just like, oh, I'm too lazy to learn a stutter step, but I want to kill stuff with this hero, so Blizzard, fix, please! No, instead you just balance around the top players and about the potential that you can unleash with the hero, and then you balance the game, and then you teach the bad players how do you play the hero properly. That's how you do that. If you're looking at football, or the Americans know it as soccer, if you can't score a goal, you learn how to shoot, and you don't complain to the FIFA and ask them to make the goals bigger. So that's the real-life sports equivalent to that. So personal responsibility, and well, if you want to be good, then you have to train. That's just how it works. Either way, as we're now heading into all of that setup, we already have for D.Va the liquid cooling right over here. You might have it on your PC back at home. D.Va has it on the Mac. And we also got the rushdown on level 4. Yeah, first explosion is already here. Gets a little bit of damage through. Medivh, of course, for Orbs is starting to stack quite heavily now that we're having the first real team fight on our hands. 19 stacks for Medivh. Gets another 3 connected, and that baseline is looking good for Hazu. He needs to make sure that he doesn't die here, though, as ETC slides in, but X-Ray misses him and only connects with the rest of the team. So now X-Ray is on the run as Ultralist tries to drop him, but ETC gets away, and the root of Malfurion makes sure that Sonya cannot come in for the final hit. Punisher gets taken by the red team though, and the blue team has to slowly back off here. Not a single kill yet, not one. Okay, this is actually pretty sexy here. We have through the bottom of the map another push coming through. And there's the jump, bait over the wall. So far so good. Greymane is already on the job and is making sure that the Punisher doesn't get too much done here. But of course the wall is falling as you would expect with a pressure play like this. And that leads us to the first objective in this one. So yep, there we go. A little bit of a portal attempt here, trying to chase someone down. But as you can tell, a bit unsuccessful. So as we're heading into the mid-game here, guys, once again, if you want to support not only all the coverage here on Twitch, but also on the YouTube channel in Esports and Heroes of the Storm, especially after HEC went down, you can always support me and my work on patreon.com/Khaldor. Thank you very, very much to all of the people already supporting me there and helping to keep the Esports coverage and the channel alive. It's very, very much appreciated. And again, guys, if you want to chip in there, you can always check it out. Now, for the time being, it's all about the camps now. We still have both teams working on level 10. We got the level 7 talents in play now. Also, they hit the Nitrous on level 7. In terms of talents, a bit of a spin-to-win setup for Sonya here. Quest completed for Hazu, 5 minutes in. So far, so good. There's obviously the potential of a Leyline and Apocalypse setup later on in the game when we hit level 10. The only problem with that might be the ping. As I mentioned a few times, the European players are all playing with 120 to 130 ping. And if you're trying to execute a good wombo, that plays a big role. That doesn't sound like much to some people maybe, but if you're playing on the top level, this is actually a huge disadvantage that you're playing with. So right now, if you want to go for a wombo combo setup, this could ruin a few of these combos. We'll have to figure out then later on if they can time that properly or not. Quest is also completed for Diablo, as he's getting that set up. All the way up at the top side, Porky is playing the super safe against Nasmas at this point. It's just sitting straight up on the mount, not really engaging too hard, until he sees more heroes in the middle. So this is all a vision play. As long as he didn't have any vision, Sonya was just sitting on the mount top side, ready to run away if there's a gank set up. But then, as the red team appeared in the middle of the map, they knew there was no problem, and therefore moved away from it. Micro missiles are now in play on level 10, so a little bit of a new setup here for D.Va, of course, as well. So can only use that in mech, but again the hero has seen a complete rework, so we'll touch upon that a bit more in the future, especially once that we are moving from the PTR server, from the test round into the live environment. But we're definitely going to see some adjustments here from the teams if the hero proves to be worthy of playing now. There's our setup, the ley line into Apocalypse, so the Wombo is ready. Sonya has got into the Wrath of the Berserker. We've actually seen a couple of jump plays just recently. Nothing really too crazy, but occasionally you can of course play around that a little bit. Especially since these are more or less in-house games, we can oftentimes go a bit of a more fun-oriented setup there too and just experiment. It's kind of funny to me that after all this action that we've seen and even quests completed on Medivh, we haven't seen a single kill yet. There's obviously vision now granted by Medivh as both teams around objective number 2 are going for their own shaman camp. Yeah, another push as Diablo is coming in. Maybe a little bit deep here. Portal is already being used. The portal control on the other hand, with not only the Rudel Malfurion, but also D.Va. But Diablo is still able to survive. Camps colliding topside now. And, well, who takes the lead here? We have D.Va starting to move in again. So far, no ult used. All of the teams are still being a little bit hesitant on their R buttons. There's the ley line, only connecting with D.Va on the other hand. That's not really a good setup for the Apocalypse, so Diablo isn't even going for it. D.Va herself got interrupted. Has the ult ready now once more. And the lead has been established for the blue team. They're slightly ahead. There comes the APOC. And a beautiful setup as they're straight up going for it. Gladiator's medallions have already been activated, at least a couple of them, on the red side in particular. Hazu is under pressure, but sets another portal up for the team so that they can escape here. The explosion on D.Va, creating space for the red team to establish a position around the objective. They're dead even now in stacks, but here comes the kill attempt against Sonya, and Porky goes down. Rest of the blue team on the move back, but solid fight here. Only a single kill, but the red team is able to claim another protector, another punisher. And honestly, that was actually a sexy fight. I mean, they did a lot of work here. It's amazing to me still that we've only seen one kill in this game. There's so much aggression here in a lot of these situations, but for the blue team, Medivh is doing a fantastic job to keep everybody alive with shields and portals. And then on the other side, you have, of course, D.Va and Malfurion currently working together to pretty much do the same thing here. Top side, even there, we've seen the Fort lose some hit points on the blue team side. They are taking a lot of damage. They lose the fort in the middle, and honestly, this one is going to fall as well. They're going to lose both of their forts, so that's a very solid start into the mid game for the red team, as they have now taken 2 forts down. They've taken a 1-level lead, and that is looking pretty good for them. So they're taking the camps away, at least they're trying to. Ley line about to prevent it. D.Va moving in. They're still fighting over it, and this bodes really badly for Lauber, but he actually is able to escape since Hazorbs is once more ready for his front line and drops the quick portal here. Well done. Continuous back and forth here, but the camp still gets stolen away by the red team. So they are doing absolutely fantastic over here. We get now level 13, the target locked on D.Va, and in addition to that, we have, in terms of talents, now also the blue team locking their own ones in with the Enduring Will coming through. We got the Byron reaction, big talent for Stukov, obviously, to lock targets down even further during all of this. Still a little bit of a pressure play at the bottom of the map in the attempt to drop the final fort of the blue team. Next shrine is going to spawn topside then again. Yeah, there's the push as once more Porky starting to push through. And Lauber is also always just like pushing them away, trying to create a little bit of space for the team. I gotta say, he's pretty impactful as Diablo right now, and very far out, quite aggressive, but hasn't been punished for it yet. He really, oh my god, they're even setting up the kill on Cassia here. He really makes sure that he peels a lot for the rest of the team and is in the opponent's face here, and trusts Hazu to keep him alive if the shit hits the fan. There's the second kill, they get off Fia, and they get a triple. 3 down, nicely done. Really well played here by Lauber and the rest of the team, as they are getting 1 kill after another. And yeah, that was a solid job here. So going for ETC here as the final kill after they locked in Cassia, but with that triple kill, they're definitely back to business. You have to keep in mind, they didn't kill a single hero until that. So this is the first time that they were able to lock a kill in, and they immediately spiral that to a triple kill, steal the opponent's camps away, and are now in a great position to not only catch up the experience, which I guess technically they more or less have already, but also set themselves a little bit ahead here. I mean, either way, they're getting the camps now. When you look at the damage setup, we have 25,000 from Medivh, so Hazu is pushing himself into a position where he's the top damage dealer, even outpacing Greymane, which is kind of nuts. Diablo also not looking too bad. I mean, Lauber is on 19k himself. You compare that to Cassia, on the other hand, and there's of course a bit of a discrepancy. 45,000 establish her very, very quickly as a top damage dealer in this game. So yeah, there's that. Sonya the only one that has died for the blue team thus far. It's all about level 60 now, where we have again another push into the defense matrix on D.Va. So now the diverting power has been claimed by Nazmas. And we get domination. So Dibbles is going to be a lot more dangerous than he previously was. They're already starting to jump in right away as they are hoping to get that kill set up. Early kill here would help them a lot. Diablo is also quite low, but the portals are ready once more. The problem for the blue team is they do not have a fountain. And without a fountain at the top lane, this is going to be really difficult, since we have the red team still in possession of not only the entire fort wall, but also the fountain to just top off their mana and hit points and re-engage into the fight. Already the lead for the red team, as they've taken a few more stacks on the objective. And they can play around D.Va and the zone control that she offers a lot more now. What the blue team needs, they need a kill. They need to find an opportunity to get a kill here. And now maybe the ley line? Yes, the setup of the Apocalypse is there. They get the double stun. Gladiator's Medallion in play. And Diablo gets killed immediately. Good example of where this can really hurt the tanks if you have those Gladiator Medallions. What looked like a perfect setup to get a kill or two against the opponent's backline. Very quickly turned through that self-cleanse against the frontline player and dropped him within a second. Lockdown on Sonya. Spin to win is in play. Explosion already set up. Diablo back to business too. Had the full soul stack. And here comes the next setup with the ley line and the attempt to capitalize with the kill. They're coming through the Stukov and ETC goes down. Dibbles also in a bit of trouble, but the portal is there. Hazob's always covering them. And that's 4 kills to 2 now. And still, with 26 stacks ready for the red team, we have the blue team in complete control of the shrine towards the top. Now that they have a numeric advantage, and that should allow them to grab the objective. Then again, red team is still poking a little bit. They haven't given up on this yet. They're still hoping that they can make the play. And they are actually grabbing a lot of stacks here. 36 to 31. This is not necessarily hopeless. But the Arcane Punisher gets locked in by the blue team after all. Nice attempt for the wall stun. Lauber missing it barely, not enough distance. Prismaticism could have fallen here if that stun connected. But now there's the jump on the Punisher, and that's a huge problem. Not able to bait it over the wall because they were fighting right in front of it is an issue. That means that it's going to be so much more deadly. Leyline comes out, the Apoc setup not really working the way that they were hoping for, but the Punisher is wreaking havoc regardless. And since they already busted through the wall, they have the entire top lane open and can go for the drop on the fort without any big problems, or at least you would assume so. It's a 5-man defense again. Greymane moving in, Ultralisk. He wants to kill us, doesn't get it. But this fort obviously is toast at this point. The fort is down. Punisher gets eliminated. And we're looking at a bit more of an even game now. 5 kills to 2, still even experience. 40,000 damage for Greymane. 68k for Cassia. She's been crushing. ETC on the other hand, ETC has 9,000 damage. Malfurion has so much more damage than ETC at this point. The cow feels a little bit bad here. I guess the only use that they have for ETC at this point is for burger meat. That's pretty much that. But also 36,000 damage for Medivh, which is a really solid number. So Khaldor has been putting in a lot of work here in this game. So now down at the bottom of the map, more camps are now being claimed. All 3 were up and 2 have been taken by the blue team. Red team was at least able to lock 1 of them in. Yeah, again, nicely done, Lauber. Good play by him. Jumping in there immediately, first on a minion to grab Cassia, but now he has to rely on the portal once again to escape, and he's able to do that more or less. He's just pulling people into walls the entire time, just pulling them into the wall, one push after another. Bottom of the map now is still our 5-man setup here, and of course both of the teams are hoping for level 20 talent. This is always that weird setup in the game where it's like, yeah, we don't really want to take a fight yet. We would love to get that level 20 first. There's no objective around right now. The camps are up, but we want to take them just yet because we're waiting still for the objective to be announced, or just before, so that we can time it properly. And it's all about lane control then. So they're taking the camp at the top, but that also means that there's nobody outside of Nasmas with D.Va at the bottom to defend, and if Ultralisk makes it onto the wall with the minion wave, he could take this down quite quickly. But with this camp already claimed, the blue team is of course moving top left, or should I actually move top left in a moment. Yeah, they have vision. ETC is there, camp is taken, bullet hits X-Ray, but he's able to move away here without too many problems. But thanks to the portal, they're simply making their way over, taking this one a bit late. And this should actually, first of all, it completes the quest on Diablo, which means that he now has his revive available again. But with this one pushing in already this aggressively, they should have more than enough time to take this entire wave down, take the Shaman down, and then have their own push the top lane a bit more efficiently. Level 20 talents are now also ready for the red team, and that gives us in this case the timing attack, so the micro missiles gain an additional charge here. And we also have the infinite lightning, whereas for the blue team we have Hellgate for Diablo, Hunter's Blunderbuss is in again for Greymane as usual, and a little bit more defense for Sonya, who at this point cannot only rely on the Nerves of Steel, but has also Ignore Our Pain available. And Medivh is cheating, as we so often see. Yeah, but that keep that top lane in mind. I mentioned it earlier. They're not setting the Diablo ult up, but they're going for BBJ regardless. And there's the Apocalypse. They're still trying to make the play on the left side. Prismaticism is in trouble. Orphea is down, but what about Sonya? She's low too, but she still has the spin to win here, and he uses it immediately. Infinite Lightning is just bouncing around, but finally stopped, as Nick is now also getting attacked here. The Cassia player with one hit after another, forced back already. Shrine now active. There's the explosion set up by D.Va, but the situation is looking better and better for the blue team, who now have 6 kills to 2, and the camp pushing through the top that someone has to deal with. And it seems to be ETC who is going to make the move for it. So ETC is moving topside, but that allows the blue team a very easy time on the objective, and a likely Punisher 18.5 minutes into the game. 81,000 damage for Nyx Cassia, 51k for Ultralisk on his Greymane, and the only one on the red team that hasn't died yet is BBJ. There's actually a bit of a pattern, by the way. In most of the games that we've seen so far, his support players have been absolutely stellar. He played an incredibly safe support in one of the games on, I think it was Battlefield of Eternity. He was also the last one to fall on his team with Deckard Cain and played a very, very solid game. So, very safe play from him. But you can tell that right now the blue team is trying to get a little bit more greedy even, not only moving for the objective, but also attempt to get the Khazra camp at the same time, so that they have a bit of a double push through the middle, 2 camps and 1 Punisher. That could help them to maybe even get the keep here. Yeah, especially if they can get a kill, but against D.Va, highly unlikely. And once more, Lauba gets attacked right away here. Down to the bottom of the map, Prismaticism is taking the camp, trying to establish a bit more pressure against the opponent's keep. Good bait over the wall, exactly the way that you're supposed to do it. Side wall has been opened up, but there's no follow-up on this one. And there's still a lot of damage coming in from behind. Apocalypse is out, there's the ley line, as they're trying to lock the targets down a little bit further. Hellgate to save Diablo, but just look at all those Khazras. Pretty much blocking everything here, and the keep stands no chance here. Absolutely none. Keep is down, and that is such an advantage now for the blue team, as they have a kill lead, they have the structural advantage, and they can, of course, on the back of this now even move down to the bottom of the map. Maybe not drop the fort, but at least take the wall down and get some damage in. That's already worth it here. And they will have no trouble of eliminating that either. Accelerating the process a little bit thanks to the setup that they have with Medivh. I'm going to take a quick look here also at how the experience came together here. Top experience gain through D.Va and Sonya for the respective teams. And in minion experience in particular, both teams have been quite solid. I mean, there's not really a lot of lane experience lost. The biggest difference in experience really comes through the hero kills that we had here. A little bit, of course, also on the mercenary side. But it's kind of offset through those extra 5k that the red team has, because they took out the structures earlier on in the game. And now with the bot lane again pressured, the red team has to be careful. If they don't want to lose the fort, then they have to make a rotation. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case. Medivh is anchoring the play with vision. Lauba is sitting here at the side, making sure that nobody is flanking them from behind. But that's the fort gone. So there's a good setup, a nice move. They anchor the play with 2 of their heroes. Perfect vision for them. No, absolutely no danger to the damage dealers. Both of the damage dealers knew perfectly well that nobody was there. Now we have to move over here. ETC! Oh, the mosh pit! Holy mother of God! No! It's a party, baby! What the fuck? The ley line after 3 go down, and they are able to escape with 2, but what the hell was that? They're coming in here and just look at this setup. The perfect mosh. It's a party, baby. And they are getting absolutely crushed in that fight. Absolutely crushed. And of course, that opens an opportunity to take the top keep. Maybe even more. That was just the ETC's wet dream coming true. That was incredible. I mean, wow. ETC needs to change his underwear after this one. That was just insane. Comes in and murders them with a perfect setup. But look at that ley line. Oh my God. 5-man ley line to delay the attempt for core. And honestly, this might not be a successful core push. They should try and take those catapults out in the back if they can. And Lauber is already pushing one away. Core is falling. Yeah, it seems like the red team has enough time. I mean, everybody is coming back now, but it's already down to 40%. It's a 5-man defense at this point, but they're still alive and kicking. There's another ley line set up, and they're killing them slowly, but it's not enough. 2%, 1%, and this is game. The 5-man mosh, ladies and gentlemen, ends the game. The red team victorious on Infernal Shrines. GG, and well played.